Hey guys, welcome back. Look, a lot of homesteaders choose to have sheep on the homestead, and for good reason. There's lots of good things to say about sheep. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the benefits of going with a hair sheep in terms of homesteading. Sheep are great for homesteading on a small property like ours. We are just on 1.25 acres. And it works out. We have 5 ewes here. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We talk about anything from better soil to better plants to better animals. So if any of that's up your alley, consider subscribing. But today, let's talk about wool sheep on a homestead. All right, so it is early October, and I am trying to get my grass as good as it can be before it starts cooling off a little bit. So I've had my sheep on this little paddock back here. It's really just more of like a second tier to our backyard. And so as I'm talking, I'm going to be moving the sheep to their back paddock that I reseeded 2 weeks ago. That's cheating a little bit, isn't it? Using hay to get your sheep to go where you want them to go. I guarantee that if you could use hay instead of a border collie, some people might have better luck moving their sheep. Alright, as fun as it is to watch me move the sheep, you're here to learn about hair sheep and why they're great on a homestead. So essentially there's 2 subsets of sheep. I sound like such a nerd when I say subsets of sheep. Ugh. Wool sheep and hair sheep. Now wool sheep are typically going to be your more typical, like stereotypical sheep that most people think of. Wool sheep have really dominated most people's mindsets when they think of sheep, but hair sheep are becoming much more popular. I'm happy to see them run around. They haven't had a lot of room to run for a few weeks because I've been trying to regrow this grass. But hair sheep are becoming much more popular, and I think there's a lot of reasoning for that. So our situation on the homestead is that, we have 1.25 acres, not a whole lot of land, but enough to feel a little bit self-sufficient, right? And sheep are a great way for us to really scratch that itch of growing a ruminant animal. It's not as big as a cow. We don't get as much meat as a cow, but in a lot of ways, it's a lot easier to raise wool sheep than it is a cow and other ruminants, even easier than goats. So the reason we got into the sheep business is for the meat, and hair sheep are hands down the way to go if meat is your aim with sheep. They love running around here. First of all, their meat tastes better. So if you have tried lamb and you don't like it, or if you know someone who has tried lamb and doesn't like it, they probably have not tried hair sheep, because most lamb doesn't come from hair sheep. That's just because wool sheep has been a market for much, much longer out there. The reason why hair sheep taste better is because that gaminess, that greasiness that you get, or that people express from eating lamb, that comes from lanolin oil. That it starts out within the muscles and gets expressed outward into the wool to keep the wool soft. Hair sheep don't really produce wool, and so therefore they have much less lanolin. They may not even have lanolin at all. I don't actually know if they completely don't have it or if they just have much less, but that's a huge difference. So you will get tastier meat from sheep. So hair sheep really are a dream animal for homesteaders, and here's why. They are incredibly low input animals, and what I mean by that is that they are easy to care for with very low resources. The most challenging thing is going to be grass, and if you don't have grass year round, getting feed. Other than that, as long as you maintain common sense sort of animal practices like clean water, clean ground, you're going to avoid a lot of pitfalls. And that is especially true with hair sheep over wool sheep. Okay, I mentioned this earlier. They are incredibly low input animals. What I mean by that is, as long as they've got grass or hay when you don't have grass, they're doing fine. I'm relatively new to the sheep game. I've been doing it for a year now, and as I've been posting these videos on YouTube, I get people that are a little bit more experienced commenting and saying, "Man, what are you feeding those girls? They're so big." And to me, they're just my sheep. So I don't really know if they're big or not, but a lot of people seem to think they are. That's because hair sheep, especially Dorper, which is what these are, they are prolific at turning grass into meat. So again, if you're a homesteader, every little bit counts, even if it's just a couple extra pounds of meat for your family with each lamb, or for your friends and neighbors. That makes a difference for a homesteader. Okay, I've talked about tastier meat, I've talked about more of it, but if that's not reason enough, the best reason for a hair sheep on a homestead is because hair sheep are traditionally exceptional mothers. And for a homesteader like me, I don't have a whole lot of experience doing this, right? And so to know that these girls back here can basically lamb really, really easily. Which one is this? Okay, yeah, so her right there. I was checking on these girls every 2 to 4 hours during lambing season, and she had her baby in between a 2-hour check period, and the baby was up and nursing by that time. That was her first lamb. Okay, just incredible mothers. Their milk must be have more fat content because they grow so incredibly fast. They're really resilient. You can see these ones back here, they're just eating off of a tree, like super hardy animals, very low input, exceptional mothers. Another favorite for homesteaders has got to be the fact that hair sheep are traditionally more parasite and heat resistant. So that matters a ton if you're a homesteader, because you don't really have the luxury of replacing a ewe or going a year without a ewe if it dies from parasite or the heat. So hair sheep are not 100% resistant to insects and parasites, but a heck of a lot more than wool sheep. Everyone says so, and I found that to be true. I haven't had to apply a dewormer once to these sheep. Another thing, they have an awesome carcass yield in a very short period of time. So I had 2 rams that at 6 months and a couple weeks, they were just so loud that I was going to wait a little bit longer to butcher them. I just said, I can't wait. Especially this one in particular, he just had to go. So I made an early appointment, and I was worried about the carcass yield. I was prepared to get something like 40 or 45 pounds of hanging weight. No. We had, one of them was, I think, 54, and the other was 58, I want to say. Such a great carcass yield for just a 6-month-old ram. Okay, another great reason for homesteaders is that if you keep a registered flock, and like I do, these are full-blooded Dorper, you can make some good money back. You could probably even get a positive ROI on your sheep within the first year if you get some good ewes and a good sire to run with them. I'll just say, for example, so these 2 back here, the farthest back right there, those 2 are my young ewe lambs, and their sire just won Western States Ram Yearling of the Year. I said it wrong. For full-blooded blackhead Dorper. So their tag just went up. I could sell each one of them easily for $500, and if I took them to a show, I could probably get $1,000 out of each of them. In fact, some with identical genetics to theirs, obviously different mom, but same sire, and a mom out of the same line, sold for $1,000 each at a show just a month ago. So as a homesteader, that kind of money is really great, because who doesn't want an easy $1,000, right? Okay, and in case you hadn't noticed, they're self-shearing, which is really cool. This girl right here, yeah, I'm pointing to the right one. You can see she's still maintaining a lot of that hair on the top. So she's rubbed all that away. You can actually see, this is a great shot. You can see along the fence line right there, some of the hair that gets rubbed away. Same thing with the trees that border the pasture. They rub their hair away. So really great. Again, so low input. It is unbelievable. These are such cool animals. Great for homesteaders. If you are having a particularly hot summer, like I was this year, I would have liked to have sheared them. I don't have the equipment for that. I didn't have a contact for that. Looking back, I should have figured something out. But if you're not consistently getting in the hundreds multiple days in a row, you probably don't need to shear them. Okay, so I know that I'm biased, but I think hair sheep are the animal for homesteaders. Maybe right next to chickens, because you got to have chickens if you're doing a homestead, right? But hair sheep, if you have anything over an acre and enough grass, you could probably do hair sheep, and they're so much fun. I highly, highly, highly recommend them for any homesteader. Thank you for tuning into the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like it on YouTube. That really helps more videos like this show up in your YouTube suggestions. Also makes me feel good about myself. I'll see you on the next video. They're so fun. I just love watching. And again, on the new pasture, they're just so happy to be out here.